Recording in
Hi, my name is Corbin Montreal, and today I'll be talking about brain development in adolescence. First, we'll be talking about brain growth. The brain stops growing physically during the early teen years, usually for girls in about age 11 and for boys about age 14. The brain keeps maturing well into adulthood, though. More complex and mental growth happens during these later teen years. The largest changes that happen in the prefrontal cortex of the brain, which processes cognitive and emotional information. The teenage brain. The teenage brain is all about change and resilience. Although the growth ends around 11 to 14, the brain keeps maturing well into our mid to late 20s. The adolescent brain is constantly changing and is ready to adapt to its environment. The adolescent brain, however, is very sensitive, but this sensitivity can also help against long-term mental disorders such as schizophrenia, anxiety, and other mental disorders. Next, we will watch a quick video about brain development.
As teens, people are always telling us what we can't do. Do you ever wonder why that is? Why can't I stay up late? What could happen if I just play for 15 more minutes? Who cares if I smoke a joint every now and then? Let's face it, adults may mean well, but they can't really explain why they won't let us do this stuff. The thing is, there's actually a really cool explanation, and it has to do with our brains. From the outside, the brain of a newborn looks just like a smaller version of an adult brain, but there's a big difference. There's a ton of stuff that still needs to be programmed into a young person's brain. That's where our life experiences come in. How we interact with what's around us shapes our brains until we're in our mid-20s. We can't feel our brains changing, but they are super busy building circuits and programming. So how does this happen? Every little thing that happens to us can change our brain in huge ways. At short distances, our experiences can make or break connections between brain cells. By guiding the creation of circuits, experiences shape our perceptions, memories, and everything that makes us unique. But they also affect our brain across longer distances. This involves the construction of thick bundles of fibers that connect different brain regions. By creating this complex network, experiences help increase the brain's bandwidth, allowing it to work better and better. You've got to keep in mind, these short and long-range connections are influenced by everything we do and everything that happens to us. But this is awesome news. It means we are the programmers of our brains. Every decision, good or bad, influences how our brain develops. Let's talk about taking drugs. For example, pretend this is the keyboard you are using to program your brain. Using drugs just for fun or to get high would be like scrambling the letters on the keyboard. Now, if you scramble the letters on the keyboard after the program is written, that can lead to temporary errors or make it hard for the program to run for a while. But if you scramble the letters while the program is being written, the program can incorporate catastrophic, long-lasting glitches. This is why teens are better off without drugs. We are in the middle of coding our brains, and drugs can cause real problems that can last a long time. And yet, drugs are just one of the many possible ways of scrambling our keyboards. For example, not enough sleep, lack of exercise, or eating too much junk food can also harm our brain programs. Yeah, I get it. It's annoying to be told what we can and can't do, but I would rather focus on my ability to shape my brain through smarter decisions. It turns out we have far more control than we thought. We can use this information to choose our own paths and give ourselves the best possible futures.
Next, we'll be talking about why sleep is important for the developing brain. Teenagers sometimes can come across as lazy, but this could be due to melatonin levels in teenagers. Melatonin levels rise later at night for teenagers and fall later in the morning, which can make it hard to fall asleep and hard for them to wake up. This may make it this this is why teenagers should get 9 to 10 hours of sleep a night. A lack of such can result to making it difficult to pay attention, increased irritability, increased impulsivity, as well as depression. The prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is very essential in the developing brain. The limbic system develops years ahead of our prefrontal cortex. The limbic system develops influence, reward, and punishment processing, emotion, and social information. Cognitive control, governed by the prefrontal cortex, matures into adulthood. The prefrontal cortex is responsible for judgment, impulse control, planning, and maturing into early adulthood. Chemicals in our brain. Dopamine and serotonin levels affect emotional responsiveness and risk-taking. Dopamine associated with pleasure, decision-making, risk-taking. Dopamine levels increase in our adolescence, impacting our risk-taking behavior. Serotonin levels regulate our mood and behavior and counterbalance dopamine effects. An imbalance of such can lead to impulsive and violent behavior. Extreme stress and sensations overwhelm the prefrontal cortex, which can lead to stress and anxiety. Now I'll share some fun facts about our brain. 60% of our brain is made up of fat, which is essential for our brain to fuel and process. Brain storage capacity is considered to be unlimited because of trillions of neuron connections that happen in our brain. Brain information travels roughly at the speed of 268 miles per hour. Using 10% of your brain is just a myth. In fact, you use all 100% of your brain, even while you sleep. And the human brain can generate about 23 watts of power, which is just enough to power a light bulb. And that is everything I have today. Thank you so much.